Transfer talk on the Sport Reviews Facebook page. It's obviously been a lot of international football this weekend. Obviously plenty of transfer rumours still going on as well. I guess the club that's been in most people's focus over the weekend is Manchester United. They're now being linked with pretty much every top striker in Europe, or it feels like that anyway. Obviously Antoine Griezmann was the big name at the start of the summer. That faded away with Atletico getting their transfer ban, and now today Antoine Griezmann is reported to have agreed a 5-year deal that will see him stay at Atletico Madrid until 2022, which I guess effectively ends any chance of Manchester United signing the striker this summer. So now it's on to new targets for Mourinho, and the top one appears to be Alvaro Morata of Real Madrid. This is a player that I think most fans in the Premier League will be aware of. He played for Madrid, went to Juventus for 2 seasons, won 2 Serie A titles, reached the Champions League final and lost with Juventus when they faced Barcelona. So he is obviously a very, very, very experienced striker, even though he's only 24. And he's also looking to play regular first team football, and he wasn't getting that last season at Real Madrid. So I guess in that sense it makes sense that he would be interested in move to Manchester United, where he's guaranteed first team football. He's obviously played with Mourinho before, even though he's a very young striker at the time when Mourinho was in charge at Real Madrid. So Mourinho knows what he's going to be getting from this player, and I think the issue now is probably going to be the transfer fee. There's talk of 70-80 million, which seems like a lot of money for a striker who, as I said, has played for a couple of big clubs in Europe but hasn't quite proven himself at Madrid anyway across a whole season in terms of being a regular starter in the team and scoring 20-30 goals. So I guess it would represent a bit of a gamble if Manchester United were to sign Morata, considering his lack of experience in the Premier League and perhaps his lack of first team football over the past season. He still did produce figures of around, I think it was 15 goals and 26 appearances in La Liga last year. That was largely coming off the bench. I think he started 14 games. So he's a player of an eye for goal, and I guess he would complement Rashford pretty well. I'm not sure if he would fit the mould of Zlatan Ibrahimovic in terms of a striker who can hold up the ball. He's more of a player who likes the ball at his feet. More of a stylish, I guess, player who would complement Martial, Rashford well. But in terms of Mourinho going away to those big rivals and playing one man up front, I'm not sure Morata would quite thrive in that environment. Another Real Madrid player who has been linked to Manchester United is James Rodriguez. I think at this stage he's been pretty much linked with every single Premier League club in the top 6. According to the reports over the weekend, he prefers a move to Manchester United ahead of Chelsea and ahead of Arsenal. But again, I guess the transfer fee is going to be an issue with Madrid looking to recoup much of what they spent when they signed him from Monaco in 2014. And I guess where would he exactly fit in the Manchester United side? If they're going to sign any midfielders this summer, you'd think that Mourinho would be looking to sign someone who could become a long-term successor to Michael Carrick or a bit of a defensive midfield enforcer. So it remains to be seen whether that will come to fruition. Obviously, Manchester United did announce their first signing of the summer, Victor Lindelof from Benfica. He's again, Mourinho's first signing of the summer transfer window has been a defender, which I guess is not really a surprise considering the injury problems they had at the back last season. Chris Smalling, Phil Jones missed large parts of the season. Eric Bailly was a great signing, but obviously had his fitness issues at certain points in the season. And Marcos Rojo missed the last 2 months due to a knee injury. So this is an area that I think Mourinho realised he had to strengthen. With this signing, I guess it probably will mean the end of Michael Keane securing that return to Manchester United. I don't think it's likely that he's going to want to go back to Manchester United in what is a World Cup season with a place in the England squad next year in Russia up for grabs. He's currently part of the England setup, so whether he'd want to risk that just to return to his boyhood club, I think it's unlikely. So that could be the end of that rumour. Moving to Arsenal. Again, Arsenal have probably been one of the clubs that have been linked with a lot of players this weekend, apart from Manchester United, more than any of the other clubs. It looks like Wenger has around 150 million to spend, if you believe what you read in the media. He will be looking at Kylian Mbappe. He was supposed to have been in France last week to discuss a potential move for him, and that would obviously represent a huge signing for Arsenal if they were able to sign him, considering the calibre of club that he's been linked with already this summer, especially Real Madrid, who are looking to make him their star signing. There's also talk of Lacazette of Lyon, which would be more of a centre forward than Mbappe, who could perhaps play as a forward on the either wing and cut in. That would be an exciting French duo if they were both to play up top, but Lacazette is reportedly going to cost Arsenal 48 million if they do sign him, which would be quite a outlay of money considering Wenger doesn't usually spend big compared to his rivals. So it'll be interesting to see if they were to sign one of those players, would they still get the other. I think Lacazette is probably more likely to happen than Mbappe, just considering the clubs that are interested in the Monaco 18-year-old. Obviously Hector Bellerin's future has been another topic. He continues to be linked to Barcelona. He has been taken to social media pretty much, in not in so many words, stating his allegiance to Arsenal. He looks to be keen to make it appear that he wants to stay at Arsenal, but I guess it remains to be seen whether that will happen. Barcelona obviously have form when it comes to signing players from Arsenal, especially some of their ex-youth products. Cesc Fabregas is the obvious example. So that is one to watch out for. Moving to Liverpool, who I guess were one of the hot topics last week, and it seems to have quietened down at Anfield over the past couple of days. The Virgil van Dijk talk is all but gone, except for a few optimistic reports that perhaps Liverpool could, after all, still sign the defender, despite apologising to Southampton for their pursuit of the Netherlands international last week. I think it's looking pretty unlikely that it is going to happen. It would be a remarkable turnaround if they did sign the defender after that statement, which was such an unusual move, considering the amount of times we see clubs tapping up players. And I mean, if you just look at some of the relentless transfer speculation surrounding other players this summer, it was really a remarkable statement. They have been linked with Van Dijk's Southampton teammate Dusan Tadic, which I think would be an interesting signing, but not really the inspiring type of player that Klopp would want to sign ahead of a return to the Champions League, when I think most Liverpool fans are really looking for a big name signing to build confidence in the squad and give us a reason to be optimistic ahead of their return to Europe next year. So I'm not sure Liverpool fans will be too excited about that rumour. There's obviously talk of Michael Keane, who I mentioned earlier, potentially a defensive signing. So it will be interesting to see whether that happens. Chelsea, again, a lot of their talk has been about Diego Costa, so it's not really been potential signings. Diego Costa obviously said last week that he'd been told by Ante Conte over text that he was surplus to requirements. And I think Chelsea are now trying to offload the striker, but they haven't found any club right now who's willing to, I guess, cough up the wages that Costa's currently on. I think his wage demands are in the region of 200 to 220,000 a week. He was linked with AC Milan, but the talk seems to have cooled with his, I guess, excessive wage demands. So that remains to be seen whether Chelsea will successfully offload him, and that, I guess, could hinge their ability to do that could well affect their chances of signing Romelu Lukaku. I'm not sure Conte would have Lukaku and Costa both in the same team next year. It'd be hard to keep them both happy. Obviously Lukaku has been linked with a return to Chelsea for around 70 million. He was sold to Everton, I think it was just 3 seasons ago, for 27 million. Obviously has become one of the Premier League's most consistent goal scorers, and I think most Chelsea fans would like to see Lukaku up in that Didier Drogba type role ahead of their return to the Champions League next year. They're obviously still looking at Monaco wingback Bakayoko, but again, that transfer deal seems to have stalled in recent weeks, and we haven't really heard too much about it in the last few days. They're now looking at Juventus defender left-back Sandro, as Conte, I guess, looks to strengthen his wing-back options ahead of what is going to be definitely a more demanding season than last season, where he could really stick with his first team throughout much of the campaign and not have to worry about the issues of fatigue. That won't be happening next year. We had 2 exclusive stories in the Sport Review over the weekend, which you may or may have not seen, so if you do want to check those out, head over to the Sport Review. I'll just give you a brief summary of both. The first one was that Manchester United are looking to re-sign Angel Di Maria, which is, I guess, a remarkable turnaround after he was sold after just 1 season 2 years ago. It was Louis van Gaal who was in charge when he left. Obviously Mourinho has worked on Di Maria at Real Madrid, so he knows a thing or two about him. I think a lot of Manchester United fans would be happy to see Di Maria return purely in terms of pace. That's something that Manchester United have lacked in recent seasons, and I think it was evident last year when they struggled at home that apart from Martial, there's a lack of pace on the wing, which really hampered their ability to break down teams at home who are just willing to put a bank of 10 men in front of their goalkeepers. So that is one exclusive that we had in the sport review. Obviously Di Maria is at PSG right now, and Manchester United will be willing, what we know, is to spend around 48 million to re-sign the player and also offer him wages of around 220,000 a week. The other exclusive we had was the Liverpool story. Liverpool are thought to be interested in Lazio midfielder Savic. Not quite the name that I guess a lot of Liverpool fans would have been hoping for this summer. He's maybe a bit of an unknown unless you watch a lot of Serie A. Savic is supposed to be worth around 25 million, and obviously plays for Serbia and has a good goal record in Serie A, so it would be a decent signing for Klopp, but like I mentioned earlier, probably not the marquee signing that a lot of Liverpool fans are looking for. So if you want to check out those stories and find out more information about those two transfer rumours, head over to the Sport Review. We have a lot of transfer stuff up there right now, and I guess I'll be back later this week to do another summary on the transfer speculation that is surrounding the top Premier League clubs. And obviously if you have any comments, feel free to comment below, or suggestions or anything like that. And thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.